So, what are we doing today? Well, I thought that it was about time that I did an update on the different animals and the garden. So as you can see, the geese are growing up. They're all out of their yellow feathers. And they're getting a little more protective over their area. And they certainly make a lot of noise, especially when you're on the telephone or filming. They seem to know when you're on something electronic, or at least that you're talking a lot. Now the chickens, they have quite a bigger perimeter than what the geese do. And they seem to be disappearing down into the drip barn. So that's going to be a little bit of a walk. But before we go down there, I'm just going to pan over to the garden area that I still need to fully enclose with kettle panel wire. But as you can see, it's growing up nicely. It seems that I'm always so much more successful with a squash type of plant. So it's not doing badly considering that I planted in shade. So right here are the zucchini. The okra just kept on getting eaten, but I think they're finally beating whatever keeps on eating them. And of course, they like more full sun, but that'll come in August. I only have a couple of tomato plants, and then my sage and my lettuce. Now, I replanted in this area because the herb that I planted died. I mean, came up and then it kind of disappeared. I'm not sure whether it got eaten or not. Now, I believe these are cucumbers. And I know I should have marked everything, but I didn't. Seems like I always get confused, or when something fails, I plant really quickly back. But this is yellow squash, as you can see. There's a yellow squash in there. Summer squash, it's just about my favorite. So I have onions with my tomatoes and some pepper plants as well. Something just keeps on eating my stuff though. This is some catnip, romaine. My chives have bolted already. Or, excuse me, not chives, but cilantro. I love the way it smells when I water it, though. And then I planted some more peppers over here because I had a bare spot. And then my watermelon are slow to come, but that's because they're a slow crop anyway. They take quite a bit of time, but I will definitely have quite a bit of summer squash. And so this is my main gardening area. However, I had an insurance area where I planted really early, just in case the frost came. So anyway, I'll just walk us out of the garden area. I know my hose is a mess, but we'll go visit the chickens. On another film, I showed how they were out in the field and some wood ducks landed. Looks like they're gonna march across the field for us. Of course, there's Dylan. He's been eaten alive by horseflies. He's pretty patient with me. I smack him and kill those things, just blood everywhere. So as you can see, the flock's getting larger. They're still just young chickens. It looks like they're hitting the water over here. Of course, I walk around and then they all come. Anyway, slip through the fence. Now the geese are following me around, but they're behind me. They don't realize that their water source is being used by the chickens. Now they're supposed to be the guard dogs of the chickens, but boy, when they stretch that neck out, the chickens get them moving. So there you can see some of the roosters. They're beginning to get their plumage. And I'm going to dispatch most of the roosters because I really just don't want to feed them. And then I'll just, when they get a little bit more meat on them, I'm just going to have a little barbecue of chicken. So I'll decide who the calmest are. Where are the geese? They're going to guard their water. It seems like the girl goose, she seems to be the most aggressive. So anyway, we'll just take a walk real quick over to the arbor that I have. I finally have it all decorated up. One thing I learned with the geese, they like to peck at everything. So you kind of have to make sure they don't peck on electrical wires. Otherwise, you're going to have a cooked goose. So my fig tree is doing well, especially after Dylan snapped one of the branches off. It's finally catching up, and then as I had pointed out in an earlier video, I used the litter from inside the goose and chicken houses to mulch the area. That seems to be working fairly well. And the other fig tree, now this one Dylan really did a number on and really crunched it down, but it's leaving up nicely. Some garlic, giant garlic. I tried a trough situation, which it was up to the top, but you can see how much it sank down. But everything seems to be doing okay because I just pretty much filled it with hay with a small amount of dirt on the top. So I have romaine and catnip in there. And then some more tomatoes and another squash plant. Actually, it's a cucumber plant. You can see a small cucumber. And then I planted some more peppers and some more tomatoes over here that have yet to come up. I didn't even have any dirt in here. I just went to the store. I just wanted to fill it up. And as you can see, some of the new seedlings are coming up. And my arbor is now decorated with a couple of geraniums and the grapevine. I'm gonna skip over the raspberries and blackberries that I planted just because there's so many weeds. And as you can see, there's a giant, well, not giant, but there's a snake right there by my grapevine. Now, I can't tell whether it's a pit viper. It looks awful long. They're not usually that big because its head is covered by a leaf. But it looks like it has a rounded head and not a triangular head. So I don't really know what kind of snake that is, but I don't think it's a poisonous one, so I'm just going to let it be because it's probably getting mice and rats. So that's what we're doing today. I'll leave you with the snake in the garden.